Hello everyone, I'm Mark Sain and welcome to Sain Investment Solutions. Please take a moment to pause this video and review the following disclaimer. Thank you for that. Welcome to week 28 of the Forex market review. Today we're going to look at the WS30, the US Stock Exchange, how a big move overnight happened within 20 minutes and then a big rebound, and a bit of a reason why that occurred, as well as some upcoming trades to look at for this week and next week. Let's jump straight to those charts. So the first pair we're going to look at today is the WS30, or the US Top 30 Stock Exchange. We're mentioning in our last video and via the Twitter feed that we're looking at a shorting opportunity here. So here we can see it's come up, hit this DSR resistance level. Let me just zoom in a little bit, up in this zone here. And we're looking at the push back down to this level roughly initially, down to this level down here, could be the next push move lower. Then we had to drop down to the 4-hour chart. We wanted to see our AO divergence, and this is where we see higher high in price. So we can see the price from here to here has stepped up higher. I'll zoom in a little bit for you. So the price has stepped up. We're not looking at these because they haven't broke that high. We've got to look at this high, and then when it gets to a new high, which it did here, and then look at those corresponding AOs to see if they stepped lower, which they did. Come back to the zero line, and then it's lower than this one here. So the price has gone up as the AOs come down, and that's our key to drop down to the 1-hour chart. We then drop down to the 1-hour chart, and roughly around this level here, we saw this large AO to the downside. And so we're looking for this movement down. We then grab our Fibonacci retracement tool. So here's 1, down for 1, up for 2, down for 3. We want to see the pullback of minimum 38.2 fib of wave 3. So start to the end of wave 3. If you don't know where it is, generally when it's come back above the zero line, then we look for that lowest point if we're going short. And we follow it all the way to the beginning, and roughly is where the other end is the highest point. So that's wave 3. The pullback came all the way up, tested this level here, and then came to 61.8 before it started moving lower. If you like to wait till break below this 1-hour 200 EMA purple line, then you would have taken the trade about here, putting your stop losses up here of roughly around 50 to 60 pips, maybe 70 pips. Now these lows down here are around 100 pips, so you definitely would have got your 1 for 2 using the 50 pip stop loss, and you should have been looking at an exit there. If you're going a bit more conservative and you had a 60 pip stop loss, it's definitely around here it triggered as well, which matches up with this low down this area here. Now this spike that occurred right here, it's a market open, pushed right back down and then pushed all the way back up. So that's a 1-hour candle, this big red one here. So you can see from pretty much where it opened to where it closed in only an hour, it had a large move. Now that move was because an email was released that Trump Jr. had made note that the Russians were in fact for Trump's election and were trying to badmouth Clinton, so Hillary Clinton. So that news shocked the market, and then obviously a lot of bulls pushed back up. So if you happen to be in this trade short, hopefully you've got out, you've taken some money. But worst case scenario, because of that big push down lower, I would be bringing your stop losses to break even if you haven't been triggered out of the market. So that was a really quick trade, only happened because of news. We normally like to see it step down slowly, and it could still get there, but because it's already pushed down and reached the target areas and this new DSR zone, this trade's now cancelled. Coming up in the market is the New Zealand USD. So now we've started to see it push up, hover around this DSR zone here. I'll just zoom in a bit for you. and then really see it push down and then came back up, push down and came back up, push down and came back up. This is the first time it's physically closed lower. Now the only concern I have with that, if I look left, I have some other DSR zones around these levels here. So for me, it's looking like it's going to find some support and could want to rally back. We're starting to see the stochastic come way oversold, so it's still got probably a bit more room to move. But if we drop down to the 4-hour chart, do we have our divergence? We do. Higher high in price, and the AO stepping down. So that meets that criteria. And then drop down to the 1-hour chart. We have the first large AO here. That's 1, up for 2, down for 3, up for 4. Did it come to the minimum 38.2? Yes, it did. And then down for 5. However, because I'm really looking from this big red candle from the open of this one here, because that's when it's broken this DSR zone, we're looking at 1, 2, 3. But this pullback 38.2, it's not going to give me enough protection, because I really want to put my stop losses up here. And if I'm going to risk 60 pips and just try to get 60 down back to those bottoms or that DSR down here, it's going to be too tight. So I may consider a trade taking the entire move. So because it's already done its first 5 waves lower, we have a rule which we then look for on the 4-hour chart for the entire move, wait for this AO to come back to zero line and pull back to the minimum 38.2. Hopefully then we can look at getting in probably around these levels here and having a nice tighter stop loss of about 40 pips, and then riding it down to here, and we should be able to at least bring it to break even when it approaches this DSR zone, and if not, get out for 1 for 2. So this one's on my radar, but looking at a 4-hour pullback this time, and AO back to zero. We have the Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie has come up to these types of DSR zones here. So it could turn, but just remember there's another one here. Drop down to the 4-hour chart. First we need the divergence, and we do. Higher high in price with the lower AO. So it's just lower, but that's an official trade. Where are we on here? We still really need to see the market push lower. So I really want to see probably these lows here broken. So if I can see these lows here and a nice daily candle close below those, then I'd be looking down to the 1-hour chart. Looks like we could have an ABC coming back up, and then we might have a 1, 2, 3. So really need to see a nice large AO and a nice decent move to the downside, and that will definitely break that level that I said I was looking at on the daily chart, this one here. So even if you want to call this one up for 2 and coming down for 3, we want to see a nice larger AO than this one here. That's a nice large AO, that's a large AO. So that's what I'm sort of representing. These ones are just small AOs. So if we can get that move there, then we can get that pull back to minimum 38.2. Then we can look at another push back lower. Where do we think it's going to go? Looking left. And here you can see it's bounced a few times. So I'd probably be looking at that level there. But because I've got a DSR zone here, I'd be looking in this band here, so probably the top of this one if I can make it. And if it does this type of setup, and we're looking at about a 100 pip stop loss, down here we've got 270, so definitely we can do a 1 to 2 risk to reward down to this top of this DSR level, and we don't really need to push down into here. So that's a good one to continue watching. The next Three more coming up, including this one, are all euro pairs. So I wouldn't go ahead and take every position, because you're just quadrupling up on the euro currency. So you just try to find which one gives you the best scenario, and maybe which one's worse against the other pair. So because we're going short, you want to look at other pairs and say, is the Aussie against the USD or against the pound or whatever, is it stronger? Or is the pound stronger in this case? Or in this case, is the New Zealand stronger? Or in this case, is the US dollar stronger? Because whichever one or two, if you choose to take it, has the stronger momentum, then this euro will fall quicker. And because we're short on all the euros, we want to go against a stronger opposite currency. So euro pound, I'll just jump through this one quickly. Do we have our divergence? We have it from here, high in price, lower AO. Because we're starting to see this large AO, and we see this going up here, and it's stepping up here. Out of the 4 euro pairs, I might probably exclude this one. I'll see how it pans out, but at this stage, I'm not really liking the euro pound. But it is still a sort of an official trade, but I'd rather take the euro Aussie if I had to take one of the two. Now, New Zealand and Aussie generally go about the same way in direction. Where are we coming up? Some DSR zones here. So because we've got that, we should find some resistance at this level. Do we have divergence? We do. High in price. Lower AO. Come back to the zero line. So it's definitely lower. But again, another large AO. So out of this one, so out of the Euro New Zealand and the Euro Aussie, the Euro Aussie is the weaker one that I'd like to trade. But again, I'd want to see how much stronger is the Aussie against other pairs such as the US dollar, the pound, etc. And the fourth one is the Euro USD. As you can see, it's broken through this DSR zone after retesting, pushed back up higher, and now it's matching these DSR zones over here. So Euro is definitely getting really strong. You probably could cast that as a wave 3, down for 4, up for 5. So it could be likely ending on the 4-hour on the daily chart. On the 4-hour chart, we have divergence, and we got nice divergence at this stage, high in price, with a nice large AO and then a small AO. So that shows that this is probably 1, 2, up for 3, down for 4, and up for 5. So if you didn't take a position here going long, probably looking at around 100 pips stop loss, you definitely would be at break even by now. So that looks like it could be a trade. So if we do see a nice decent candle push back lower, we'll drop down to the 1-hour chart and we'll try to see our wave pattern. Probably 1, up for 2. It might find some support there, we'll find out. Down for 3, and then pull back for 4. Then we look at getting into that position, and then we look at trading it back lower. Where would we like to go? Probably these levels somewhere down here. But again, use your Fibonacci expansion tool from the start of wave 3 to the end, to the top of wave 4, and then look at getting out roughly around the Fib expansion 100 levels. So anywhere at these levels, if they match up with a DSR zone, is the best thing to do. A couple other pairs you can look in your own time: Pound CAD and the USD Yen. Both of those I mentioned in last week's trading, so they're still setting up. So thank you for that. That was week 28 of the Forex market review. Here at Sane Investment Solutions, we wish you all the best in your success. Take care. Bye-bye.